Good afternoon, Mercy. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm properly audible. Okay. So in the last session, we were discussing about kingdom classification, right? We have discussed this cell part. We have discussed that what are the different components of cell. We have seen the classification of cell also. We have talked about plant cell, animal cell, prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. And then we have also discussed about stem cell and somatic cell. In stem cell and somatic cell, we have also seen this one concept that there is called induced pluripotent stem cell. These topics we have discussed. Then we have started with the kingdom classification. Now, in kingdom classification, we have seen one thing in the beginning, that there are 5 different kingdoms: Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. We have these 5 different kingdoms, and we are going to talk about them one by one. Now, UPSC is not going to ask you about like how many kingdoms are there, or it is not even going to ask you like bacteria is belonging to Monera or Protista. They will not frame questions like this. If they have to ask questions, they will ask about the characteristics of the organisms which are there. They can ask you about the bacteria. They can also ask about the fungi. They can ask about the insectivorous plants or animals. Although animals is very common, so they will not ask about it. So there are 3 sections which are important here. One is the types of plants which are there. Second thing about the fungi, and the third one about the Monera kingdom or the bacteria. Then after we will see another category, that is virus. We cannot leave virus. Virus is very important part for our examination also, and in general also virus is quite important. So we will see that. So let us first talk about this Monera kingdom. Monera. Last day we have seen this one thing, that all the prokaryotic organisms, they are grouped under the Monera kingdom. Prokaryotic means their nucleus is not well developed. Their nucleus is not properly developed. What we see that they have genetic material. They do have genetic material, but they don't have any membrane bound structures. Membrane means the boundary, the outer boundary which is. So we see that in this case of Monera, we are having all the prokaryotics. All the prokaryotics are there in the Monera kingdom. And we also know that in the prokaryotic section, we have one organism, that is bacteria. So here also we know about this one thing, that we have the bacteria here. Now when we talk about bacteria, so first of all we have to understand that where we can get the bacteria, what will be the habitat, or what will be the like environment in which this bacteria is living. What will be the habitat of this bacteria, where we can get them? Where do we have bacteria? Bacteria is one such organism which you considered that to the entire extent of biosphere you have this bacteria. Okay. The extent of biosphere is roughly around 20 kilometer, around 11 kilometer from the depth of ocean to 9 kilometer above the sea level. Okay. So this is the 20 kilometer extent of biosphere. Biosphere is the part where life can be found. We see that throughout this biosphere, wherever life is there, you will find bacteria to be there. So almost we can say that it is the omnipotent in biosphere. It is almost omnipotent. Omnipotent means which is everywhere. Omnipotent in biosphere. If we talk about bacteria, like last month, perhaps yes, in last month there was this one news article that in the hot springs of Rajgir, in the hot springs of Rajgir, there are certain bacteria which are quite useful. In the hot springs of Rajgir, there are certain bacteria which are quite useful. Okay. Hot springs, you know, like if you have seen at some places, the warm water is also rising from the surface, or if a river is passing by, you will find that it is having heated water, like Manikarnika in Himachal Pradesh. Okay. So we have got multiple these hot springs throughout India. We have got multiple such hot springs throughout India, like where the water is also heated, or in general also heat is coming from the surface. Okay. So these are the hot spring, that is basically geothermal energy, the thermal energy inside the earth which is getting released, and due to which we find the hot springs over there. In these hot springs also, where the temperature is quite high, in these hot springs also you can find bacteria. You can also find bacteria near this like vent of volcanoes. You can find the bacteria near the vent of volcano also. We see that in the hot spring near the vent of volcano we can find bacteria. This is one extreme. On the second part, on the other side, in the polar areas, in the glaciers, beneath the ice also, we will find the presence of bacteria. So from Arctic and Antarctic to volcanoes, this is the range of extreme temperature. And in all these extreme temperatures, if nothing is there, there will be bacteria. So this is one part of the habitat, like from extremely hot to polar areas. Don't ask about this, that do we have bacteria on sun or not. Okay. So on sun it may not be present. We are talking only about the earth. Okay. Here we are talking just about the earth. In the core also, in the core of earth also, there might not be bacteria. We don't know about it. We have not gone there. Okay. Maybe they would be present. We have not seen it. Okay. So right now we see in the biosphere we see that from the like vent of volcano to even the extreme polar areas, we have the presence of bacteria. On the other hand, there are two types of medium also. One is alkaline medium, one is acidic medium. So in our stomach, we have an like acidic medium of having acidity or pH scale. If you calculate it on pH scale, it can be like 1.5 to 2.5. So in that high acidic medium also, we have the presence of bacteria. In very highly acidic environment, in our stomach, where the like pH scale of that medium is like 1.5 to 2.5. In that much highly acidic environment also, we have the presence of bacteria. In alkaline areas, you can easily find. In alkaline systems, you can easily find the presence of bacteria. So whether it is acidic medium, acidic to alkaline, we have the presence of bacteria. Soil, water, air. We have soil also, we have water also, we have air also. In all these areas, in all these locations, we have presence of bacteria. Basically, any area which you imagine, any area which you see, they are going to have somewhat amount of bacteria inside our body, on our body, outside our body, everywhere. If you ever feel alone, okay, you have always one friend. Okay. So bacteria is always there with you. Okay. So this is one part about the habitat. Now, second thing is, when we are talking about this bacteria, we also have to see how to get their nutrition. They need food to survive. So what about their food? What they eat and how do they eat? Do they make their own food? Do they depend on others? The bacteria, how do they make the food? there is again huge diversity. There is huge diversity. Bacteria is the one which can perform chemosynthesis. Bacteria is the one which can also do photosynthesis. Okay. So bacteria can do the chemosynthesis also. Where nothing is present, they will use the chemicals to synthesize the food. Bacteria can do that also, like they can do the chemosynthesis. They can also do photosynthesis. Some bacteria will be able to perform photosynthesis also, hence they will use the sunlight to make their own food. Bacteria can be consuming food made by others also. So they can be heterotrophic. They can also be decomposers, means they will eat the dead and remaining matters. So from producers to decomposers, bacteria can play all the role. You can see there are certain organisms which are producers, there are certain which are simply consumers. Bacteria can be producer also, bacteria can be consumer also. So that is the diversity of bacteria. Bacteria can be producer also, and in producer also they can be photosynthetic also, they can be chemosynthetic also. In consumers they can be simply heterotrophic or they can be decomposers also. So they have the entire range. In environment, we see that whenever we talk about decomposers, we simply remember one example, that is bacteria. But bacteria is not only decomposer. Bacteria can also be producer. Bacteria can also form symbiotic relation, like in case of human. In case of humans, we have the E. coli bacteria, which is forming this symbiotic relation with the humans. So they can be forming all these things. They can be producer to decomposer. That is the range of their nutrition. So here we see that if we talk about them, they can be producer to decomposer. All these things are possible. They can be producer also, they can even be ranging up to decomposers as well. Now, one thing, will they have cell wall? Some bacteria may have, some bacteria may not have. Okay. So bacteria are showing the entire range of diversity. Some bacteria may have cell wall, some may not have cell wall. So as per their requirement, they can either have a cell wall or they cannot have a cell wall. So both options are available here also. Okay. May or may not. Now, do they have mitochondria? Do they have mitochondria? Remember one thing, they are prokaryotic. So there is this limitation that they may have cell wall, that is an outer structure. But when we talk about the inner structure, they are still prokaryotic. So they don't have this mitochondria, they don't have the lysosomes, they don't have plastids, they don't have endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies or other things. Ribosome is there. Ribosome may be present there, but other things are not there. Are they unicellular or multicellular? Unicellular. So we know that they are also unicellular organism. Unicellular. So this is one part, like when we talk about bacteria, bacteria are the one which are unicellular prokaryotic organism. They can be omnipotent. They can be found in almost all the areas. From extremely hot areas of volcanic vents to extremely cold polar regions. They can also be found in acidic environment or even the alkaline one. They can be there, like if we talk about them, they can be acting as producer also, they can perform photosynthesis, chemosynthesis, or they can be decomposer also. So that is their nutrition mode. Cell wall may or may not be present. So this is one basic thing about bacteria. Okay. Now, we'll write a little bit about them. First write the Monera kingdom. First write this one part, Monera. In that, write this one section, like First line in Moderna kingdom. This kingdom contains all the prokaryotic organisms. This kingdom contains all the prokaryotic organisms. Bacteria is the most prominent organism of this kingdom. Then about bacteria, you can write next line. They are unicellular. Small lines. They are unicellular. Second thing, they can be found in extremely acidic. They can be found in extremely acidic to highly alkaline medium. Extremely acidic to highly alkaline medium. They can be found, next point, they can be found near volcanic vents, hot springs, they can be found in volcanic vents, hot springs, and also near the ice sheets in polar areas, and also near the ice sheets in polar areas. Ice sheets in polar areas. Some, next point, some of the bacterias may be producers. Some of the bacteria may be producers. In bracket you can write photosynthesis or chemosynthesis. In bracket you can write there photosynthesis or chemosynthesis. Photo or chemosynthesis. Next, bacteria can also act as decomposers. Bacteria can also act as decomposers. There is one thing called as decomposer and there is one thing called as detritivorous. So what is the difference between them? Like in NCERT also you have to read this. In NCERT environment you have to read this. One thing is called as decomposer. There is another organism called as detritivorous. They are primary decomposers. Detritivorous. Like, what is the key difference? 2 times UPSC has asked very simple question about decomposer and detritivorous. They have just asked the names of them. They have just given the names of them that you have to identify which of the following are decomposers. Options were there. In first case, bacteria, fungi and virus. There was once a question in which UPSC has asked recently, I think in 21 or 20, that which of the following are detritivorous. In that options were like this, that you have wood lice, you have crabs, snails, earthworms, and I think horse or something else was there, sea cow or something else. Okay. So 5 options were there in which you have to identify which of them are detritivorous. So there is a difference between them. Yes, there is one answer, decomposers, digestion outside body. See, just to give you an idea, suppose here we have some dead product. Okay, this is dead biomass. This is dead biomass. Now we have two organisms. One is the decomposers, and there is another organism which is detritivorous. So there is going to be a difference in their approach. What will decomposers do? They are going to release certain enzymes over here. They will release the enzymes on the dead matter. They will release certain enzymes on the dead matter. Due to these enzymes, this dead matter is going to be converted into simpler form. Now they are going to absorb it. It means their digestion is going to take place outside the body. They are not digesting it inside the body. They have released enzyme, and after breaking this dead matter into simpler matter, they are going to absorb it. This is what we also do in digestion. Like we do it internally. Whenever we are eating something, we break it down into simple things like carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, proteins, etc. So this is the digestion process which is taking inside the body. They don't have a stomach. They cannot eat also like this. So what they will do, they release the enzyme. And when they release the enzyme, the dead matter is broken down into simpler particles, simple particles. After this, they are going to absorb it. But detritivorous are considerably large organisms. Okay. Like for example, you may have seen earthworm. Have you seen earthworm? If not, try to dig some soil. If you have not seen earthworm, try to dig some soil. This is the right season also. Okay, if you dig a little bit of soil, if you have got soil somewhere left in Delhi, normally it is concrete only. Okay. Normally the entire Delhi is concrete. Okay. So that's why this is an urban heat island. You will not find soil over anywhere. So you may have to go to some park or somewhere. When you dig the soil over there, then after going to some depth, you may find some earthworms over there. Okay. So these earthworms are considerably larger. You can see them also. They can be having size of your palm also. Okay. So what they do, they will consume the food. They are going to consume it, and they are going to have internal digestion. Internal digestion. Now they cannot eat the entire product. Okay. So they also break it down into a little bit fragments. Okay. While they are consuming this, in the same process, they are also breaking it. They are breaking the detritus into some smaller particles. Okay. They consume some of them directly, and then remaining ones can again be decomposed by the decomposers. So decomposers will again break it down, like these bigger particles, they will also release enzyme on them and break it into further small particles for their composition, for their consumption. So simply see this one thing, bacteria is unicellular. Bacteria is unicellular, so they don't have a stomach or anything. The food material may be bigger than their size. Okay. If you see the food material, the size of the food material may be bigger than the entire bacteria, so they cannot consume it. But for the earthworm, this food material is going to be of a smaller size, so they can consume it inside their body and then they can absorb it. They also release waste material. They will also release the waste material. The same waste material which is taken up by the plants and all other plants only, they are taken up by the plants to grow the fruits and all. Okay. So their waste material becomes the fertilizer for the plants. So all the nitrogen, phosphorus and everything which you get from plants or fruits or anything, they are basically the waste material of earthworms. Okay. So everything which you consume, okay, they are just in a change form. Okay. They are just the waste material of bacteria, decomposers or detritivorous. Okay. So the food for you is the waste material for them. Okay. So we eat in a modified form. Okay, we eat in a modified form, but it is actually coming from plants change it, like they are doing the value chain part. They are the part of the value chain. They are modifying it. They're taking the raw materials from detritivorous, they're modifying it. Okay. So that is modification work which is being done by plants. Otherwise, it is the waste material. Okay. They absorb nitrate, phosphate, sulfate. These all things are waste product of bacteria and detritivorous. They are absorbed by plant, plant make food from them, and that food is consumed by us. Okay. So this is one thing, difference between decomposer and detritivorous. If you have not seen bacteria, they look like this. Okay. Bacteria have generally 4 type of shape. Okay. Like these are the shape of bacteria. You might not be able to see them directly. Okay. So see, they are like this. Bacteria appear like this. There are generally 4 shape of bacteria which has been identified. Okay. The bacteria will look like this. So whatever images you are seeing in Dettol ad, they might not be bacteria. Okay. They are not bacteria. They are like still bigger microbes. Bacteria seem like this. Okay. So this is the shape and size of bacteria. We have already written about them. Write one more line about bacteria. Write one more line. They may contain cell wall. They may contain cell wall, or it can be absent also. They may contain cell wall, or it may be absent also. Now, coming to this next part, after kingdom Monera, we have the second part, that is Protista. Now, see, what we have seen earlier, we were having this Monera, and here we see that every bacteria was present here. So apart from this, all other unicellular organism which are which are eukaryotic. Okay. So every unicellular organism which is eukaryotic in nature, they simply come under this section of Protista. Okay. Every unicellular organism, they come under this section of Protista. So like for example, if you have amoeba, euglena, paramecium, they are all coming under this section of Protista. So here we will find that there is one thing, they are eukaryotic. Eukaryotic means, now I think you understand, they have a well developed cell. Okay. Second thing is, they are unicellular. They are unicellular. If you want to see what are these organisms, here we have these organisms: amoeba, euglena, paramecium, chlamydomonas, diatoms, dinoflagellates, and their entire families. Okay. So they are all different unicellular organisms. Okay. Now, if we talk about their habitat, like what we see that they are not as diverse as bacteria. They have a limited range. Most of them, if you see most of them, they are confined to aquatic ecosystem. They are largely confined to aquatic ecosystem. So generally we see that most of them are aquatic. Okay. Some of them can be found in terrestrial also. They can be found in terrestrial also, but largely they are aquatic in nature. Most prominent among them, if you see the most prominent organism, like amoeba is one of the most prominent. Then here you have one thing, diatoms, then dinoflagellates, Now, why I am writing their name? UPSC is asking sometimes questions about the microorganism, and they will not ask about amoeba, because there is one name which you all know. If you have passed class 10th, you know about amoeba. Everyone has seen amoeba's picture. That is the most favorite of NCERT. Okay. So amoeba everyone knows. There is one thing called as diatoms and dinoflagellates. They are also like unicellular, and they are coming under this section of phytoplankton. They are coming under this section of the phytoplanktons. Okay. They are the primary producers. They are the primary producers in marine ecosystem. Okay. In the oceanic ecosystem, they are the main organisms which are found there. Okay. So this is one section. In the case of eukaryotic Protista kingdom, we have some of these famous names. Now, when we talk about their nutrition, if we talk about their nutrition, what we see that they can be producer or consumer. Now see here, there is one difference. They are not decomposers. They are not decomposers. They can be producer, they can be consumer, but they are never decomposers. There is a difference. They can be producer, they can be consuming the food, like amoeba. Amoeba is simply consuming the food. It is a consumer. It is not a decomposer. None of the organisms which are here, they are not doing this decomposition work. Either they will make their food or they will eat other. But they are not going to feed upon the dead matter. So that is one key part. Decomposers are only in case of this bacteria, and later on one more organism. Okay. So they are not decomposers. Always remember this one part, not decomposers. They can be producer or consumer. They can be producer or consumer, but not the decomposers. Okay. Now, so that is one simple thing about them. There is one name which is highly controversial in case of Protista. Some people consider them as part of Protista, some don't consider them as part of Protista. That is algae. Okay. So algae is, although unicellular, algae is unicellular, but they form an entire group. So they seem to be multicellular. That's why in some cases we classify them under the kingdom Plantae. Okay. So there is one organism for which both kingdoms are claiming. Protista also claims algae is our member. Plantae also claims algae is our member. Okay. So there is always a controversy about this algae. Algae can be placed here also. Why? Because it is unicellular. Okay. And in case of plants also, because it is capable of performing photosynthesis also, plus algae is not like roaming freely, or it is not having a solitary life. Algae form the entire colony. Algae can cover an entire forest, entire lake, it can cover a sea for that case. It can cover the entire sea also. So algae can build so much like a forest type of ecosystem, its own forest. So that's why algae is also considered as part of Thallophyta under the plant kingdom. Okay. So this is one part. So these are the organisms in Protista kingdom. So write a little bit about them. What does algae says? I will ask about it from algae. Next time when I meet algae, I will ask them that which kingdom you want to be. So write a little bit about this. In Protista, Protista subheading, write down all unicellular eukaryotic organisms. All unicellular eukaryotic organisms, unicellular only. All unicellular eukaryotic organisms are part of Protista kingdom. Second, they are mostly aquatic. They are mostly aquatic, but some can survive even in terrestrial ecosystem. They are either producer, they are either producer or consumers. They are either producers or consumers. They don't act as decomposers. They don't act as decomposers. Examples, amoeba, euglena, chlamydomonas, paramecium, diatoms, dinoflagellates, everything, the name which is written here. This one, amoeba, euglena, chlamydomonas, paramecium, etc. In note somewhere you can write, that some experts consider algae to be a part of Protista kingdom, because it is unicellular. However, algae remains in group. Perform photosynthesis. Perform photosynthesis. Hence, they are also considered part of Plantae kingdom. So this is our second kingdom, that is Protista. Okay. Now we are coming to the third kingdom. Again, this is one thing, like this one kingdom is based on only one type of organism. Like we have the Monera kingdom. So Monera kingdom is also for bacteria. They might be having some arc bacteria also. But when we talk about this fungi kingdom, there is no other organism, there is only fungi. So what we see that in this kingdom we have just one member, the kingdom fungi. Like NCERT writes it as kingdom fungi or kingdom fungi, okay, but it is kingdom fungi. Okay. Now, if we talk about fungi, it is also one of the very important concept for UPSC. UPSC loves three microorganisms: bacteria, virus, fungi. Okay. They have extreme affection for these three. Okay. If you see the last 10-year questions, just search their name. If you get nothing, you will get bacteria, virus and fungi. So these three are always there. If there is no bacteria, there will be virus. If there is no virus, there is going to be fungi. But see, any year's paper from 2013 to 2025, any year you will find at least one of them in the paper. So that's why they are very important organism. Okay. So now when we talk about the fungi, they are considered as cosmopolitan. They are considered as cosmopolitan. Okay. Why cosmopolitan? They can survive in every area, in every situation. Okay. So if there is nothing, then there is bacteria and fungi. So fungi is also something which is found almost in the entire world, from polar areas to equator. In all these situations, in all these ecosystems, you will find fungi. They will not be found near the volcanic vents. They will not be found in extreme temperatures. But if we talk about ecosystem, so from equator to the poles, there is one organism apart from bacteria which is present, and that is fungi. And it is not only about like just having a presence. They are present in significant quantity. Their population is also higher. Okay. So that's why they have got their own kingdom. You can understand this. One organism having its own kingdom, it means it is considerably significant organism. So why it is significant, how it is different? If you look at this, it is one thing which is multicellular in nature. This is one thing which is multicellular. You can see them. You can see the fungi. You cannot be able to see the diatoms, dinoflagellates, or you will not be able to see the bacteria. Even amoeba you cannot see. Okay. But you will be able to see the fungi. For example, mushroom. Okay. That is also fungi. It is a multicellular organism which you are able to see. Okay. Even if you keep some food items, like suppose you have made a very tasty vegetable today, keep it outside. Like right now we have the time of monsoon also, you will easily get fungus over there. Okay. So keep it outside for 2 days or 3 days. Then you will find a white color of deposition over there. That white color which develops over there, that is the fungi. Okay. So fungi can easily develop. Even in summer time also or monsoon time also, you will find them easily. In winters they are a little bit lazy, but during summer and monsoons they are quite active. Okay. So you can easily find them. Even if you keep them in refrigerator for 15 days, you will find fungi over there. So suppose if you have kept something in refrigerator also where there is low temperature, even in that condition you will find the fungi. Okay. So it means they can grow even in those low temperatures. It is not only at equator, even in a refrigerator you can have fungi. So from there you can understand that like what type of habitat they can accommodate. Okay. So that's why they have been called as cosmopolitan. From equator to poles, you will find fungi. Now, it is multicellular. First thing is this. Habitat we have seen cosmopolitan. What type of cell they will have? Prokaryotic or eukaryotic? Okay. So prokaryotic is only for bacteria. Here also we will find that they are going to have eukaryotic. Now about their food pattern, the nutrition. Like how they are going to get the nutrition. So will they perform photosynthesis or not? Photosynthesis. You have seen mushroom growing. Okay. So do they perform photosynthesis? Fungi, can they perform photosynthesis or not? Remember one thing, fungi can only be consumers or decomposers. Okay. Only consumers or decomposers, no photosynthesis. Okay. So there is no photosynthesis in case of No photosynthesis in case of this like fungi. So that is also one part. There is going to be no such photosynthesis. So this is one more part, consumer plus decomposer. Now, do they have cell wall? Fungi can have cell wall. Okay. Fungi can have cell wall which are considerably significant than bacteria, lower than plants. Plant cell wall is made up of cellulose, the hardest structure. Okay. In case of bacteria, it is made up of some simple sugars. Okay. In case of this fungi, it is made of chitin, which is significantly complex sugar. So here also we see that there is presence of the cell wall. In this case, cell wall will be present. You will have cell wall. Now let us talk about this one part about this fungi. Fungi are also quite much diverse. They can be useful, they can be harmful. Okay. Fungi can be useful also, fungi can be harmful also. Like some of the fungi can cause diseases in humans. Okay. Some of the fungi can cause diseases in humans, whereas some of the fungi are consumed by humans for nutrition. For example, the mushrooms. Okay. The mushrooms are used for nutrition purposes, a very good source of protein. Okay. So they are used for this like nutrition purpose also. Some of them can have medicinal properties also, and some of them can be poisonous also. Okay. So it is having range from poisonous to nutrition, okay, to diseases. So it can be poisonous also if people are consuming some fungi, wild fungi which are there, or wild mushrooms which are there in forest and others. They can cause like various harm to the people, including death. In some cases, they are as costly as like 1 lakh rupees per kg. Okay. So mushroom can be that much costly also. Okay. 1 to 2 lakh rupees per kg also, mushroom can be that much costly. Okay. So it is not 20 rupees mushroom which you get in market. Okay. So you can get it at 20 rupees also, or you can get it as 2 lakh rupees also. So mushrooms can be coming in all these varieties as per their quality. So some are extremely useful, some are very much harmful also. Some of them are poisonous also. So that is one quality of mushroom. Mushroom or fungi can be poisonous, can be medicinal, can be nutritious, can cause diseases. All these properties can be seen in case of the fungi. Fungi can infect the plants also. Fungi can cause various diseases in plants also, in our crops also, in our grains also. So that is one part about fungi. But normally they are very much useful like decomposers. They are very much useful as decomposers. So this is also one part. Now, one more thing about fungi. Fungi form symbiotic association. Okay. This one thing which you see here, it is called as lichen. It is called as lichen. Okay. So lichen is basically combination of algae plus fungi. So this is a symbiotic relation. This is a symbiotic relation. What we see that like this algae and fungi can form a relation in which algae is photosynthetic, so it will provide the food, whereas this fungi is going to provide the nutrients. It is a decomposer. It is a decomposer. It means this will be providing the nutrients. But here there is one special thing. The fungi which is here in the case of lichens, they have one very special ability. They have the ability to even get the nitrogen directly from the air. So that is one special part of this fungi. The fungi which is here, it can get the nitrogen directly from the air. Nitrogen is very much required for food making. Nitrogen is a very important component of food. And this fungi has a special ability, they can get it from the air itself. So lichen is one such symbiotic association which can tell us about air pollution. See how it will go. They are absorbing nitrogen from atmosphere. Now if there is too much of sulfur dioxide in air, so in that case the fungi which is there, it is going to be impacted. The fungi will be absorbing the sulfur also, and they will be impacted because of sulfur. So when there is too much of sulfur oxides, then the population of lichen is going to decrease. Their population is going to reduce. So when air is polluted, especially because of industry or fossil fuels, so then lichens will decrease. And if air is very good, like natural nitrogen, oxygen and everything, so in that case there will be like significantly higher quality or higher number of lichens or fungi. So in the forest you will find that lichens are very common. But have you seen lichens in Delhi? Okay. Why not? Air pollution. Okay. Lichens can be seen on the branches of the tree. Lichens can be seen on the branches of the tree. So if you are not finding the lichens over there, it means the area is under severe pollution. Okay. So if there is high pollution level, lichens will not be there. So they can be growing on old trees, the bark of the trees, the soil, the buildings, everywhere lichens can grow. So if it is polluted, they will have lesser number or no population. If the air is not polluted, lichens will be in significant number. So that is also one part. What we see that fungi forming an association with algae forms lichen. One more important part. They can grow without soil. Okay. The lichens can grow without soil. So in the oceans, if there is a formation of volcanic island, when there is no life on that island, the first thing which will come there is going to be lichens. The first thing which is going to evolve in that ecosystem is going to be the lichens. So that is also one part. They are called as the pioneer community. They are called as pioneer community. So they are also part of this pioneer community in the ecosystems. First community to evolve in any area. So that is lichens. In 2022 also, UPSC has asked this question that which of the following organism can grow even without soil? And then you have two options. One was lichen and second one was moss. Okay. So there are two organisms, lichens and moss, which can grow without the soil also. Like on the rocks also you will find lichens. So when you have no life at any part, there is no even soil also, then also there will be presence of lichens. If life starts there, it will start with lichens. So that's why this fungi, if you look at the fungi, they are quite significant. That's why they are called as cosmopolitan. They will be called as cosmopolitan. So this is one thing about kingdom fungi. Write a little thing, write something about them. Lichens will not have roots. Lichens are not going to have roots. Why they will need the roots? They don't have root, they don't have leaf. So that's why we don't say them as plants. So lichens are not going to have any kind of roots or anything. There is algae and fungi. Algae doesn't have root, fungi is fungi. So they don't also have any roots. So that's why they are not having the traditional root system. Symbiotic means a kind of relation in which both of them are helping each other. Like here if you see algae, it is providing the food. Algae is providing the food and fungi is providing the nutrients. So both of them are helping each other. So that is symbiotic relation. So write something about fungi. First thing, they are multicellular eukaryotic organism. Multicellular eukaryotic organism. Second, found across the earth. Second, found across the earth from equator to poles. Found across the earth from equator to poles. Third thing, they are either consumers or decomposers. They are either consumers or decomposers. There is one question that mushrooms have roots, but these are not called as roots. They are outgrowths of mushroom, which is for absorbing the nutrients from the ground. But they are not the roots in the traditional sense as in case of plants, because mushrooms are not plants. Mushrooms are fungi. Okay. So in bacteria also you will find ciliary growth. You will find flagella in bacteria also. So can you call them plants? They also absorb the nutrient from nearby areas. When we have seen prokaryotic, you may have seen that they have these growths also. So can you call them roots? So we cannot call them as roots. So mushrooms, like it is not debatable part that mushroom is a plant or not. Mushroom is a fungi. Okay. You may not like it, but it is a fungi. Okay. That is one thing. Mushroom is not a plant. Mushroom is a fungi only. Okay. Third thing, we have written this. They are either consumers or decomposers. They are either consumers or decomposers. Write this one part also about fungi. Fungi can be both useful or harmful. Fungi can be both useful and harmful. Both useful and harmful. इसके आगे लिखेंगे some fungi can cause infection. Some fungi can cause infection in plants, animals or humans. Some fungi can cause infection in plants, animals or humans. Next, some fungi like mushrooms, can be used for nutrition or medicinal purposes. While some fungi like mushrooms can be used for nutrition or medicinal purposes, while some of them can be poisonous also. Some of them can be poisonous also. One more point. Some fungi are forming symbiotic relations. Some fungi are forming symbiotic relations like lichens, or mycorrhiza in plants, in plant roots. Mycorrhizas in plant roots. Mycorrhiza in plant roots. Now, where you have written after this, write a small portion about lichens also. I think you may have read about lichens, but still write a few points about lichens. It is a symbiotic association. It is a symbiotic association of algae and fungi. Algae and fungi. In algae you can write this, that it provides the food. In algae you can write this, it provides the food. In fungi you can write, it provides nutrients to make food. It provides nutrients to make food. Omnipotent is something which is almost everywhere present. And cosmopolitan means almost all type of areas. Omnipotent means from the top of the mountains to the depth of biosphere. So that's why we have used omnipotent in case of bacteria, but here we have seen cosmopolitan. So means it can be found from the equator to the polar ecosystem, like almost all the different type of ecosystem. Write about this one part. Lichens are a good indicator of air pollution. Lichens are good indicator of air pollution. Lichens are good indicator of air pollution. If pollution increases, then the population, if pollution increases, then the population of lichens decrease. Then the population of lichens decrease. One more point. Lichens are considered as pioneer community. Lichens are considered as pioneer community in any ecosystem. Considered as pioneer community in any ecosystem. Lichens along with mosses. Lichens along with mosses can grow even without soil. Lichens along with mosses can grow even without soil. Have you seen them in reality? So these are the lichens which are found here. These are the mosses. In between them also will find lichens. Okay. So they are having very small outgrowths. So don't consider them to be plant or don't consider them to be grasses. Everything which looks green is not plant. Okay. Every green thing is not plant. Okay, so that is one thing. Lichens, if they are looking green, it doesn't mean that they will be simply plants with all the roots and everything. The mosses are also like plants. They seem like plants, even they, like we see that they are classified under this like bryophyta, but they are not true plants. They are not true plants. Sometimes they are classified under plants, but they don't have leaf, they don't have roots, they don't have branches. They are not going to have all those structures. They are not even grasses. Grasses have roots. Grasses have a small, like even if we look at them, they have got a small leaves. They have also got a structure. Okay, so grasses are still like plants. Grasses are a full-fledged plant. Their height is small, so you cannot neglect them. Okay. But if we talk about the mosses or lichens, they are not like plants. They are a different type of organism. Okay. So in same manner, like mosses can also grow without soil. Even if there is no such soil, there is only rock only, they can grow on that. So that is about the kingdom fungi. Okay. Now we are coming to the next kingdom, that is kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae. So plant is multicellular or unicellular? Plant is not multicellular. Plant is tissue based organism. Everything will not be cellular only. Okay. Plant is tissue based organism. Okay. And animals are organ and organ system based organism. So we are advancing. First we have reached unicellular prokaryotic. If you see the sequence now, first part was prokaryotic and unicellular, that was Monera kingdom. Eukaryotic but unicellular, Protista. Multicellular, eukaryotic, fungi. Then we have got tissue based structure and plus like this eukaryotic, so we have plant. And then we will go further where we have the organs, we will have the animals. So this is the entire like series of evolution. Like first we have got cell, then multicellular, then tissue, then organs. So now here in case of Plantae, we know that they are tissue based, they are eukaryotic. What is their mode of nutrition? Photosynthesis. Okay. With one exception that some of them are insectivorous. Okay. So when we talk about their habitat, they are also found across the sections, from terrestrial to aquatic to marine to freshwater, from equator to even poles. In poles you will not find large plants, but still you will find some grasses, some seasonal like plants may be witnessed in even the polar areas. They cannot survive on the ice caps, they cannot be growing on the glaciers. So we will find that they cannot survive in glaciers like bacteria. They cannot even survive in extreme regions like fungi. But after fungi and after bacteria, they are also found in other areas. Okay. So here we see that there is more and more limitations. So habitat normally from polar to tundra areas, not extreme regions. They cannot be found in volcanoes. Okay. So in volcanoes you will not find like plants. So this is one part. They are also having restricted habitat, not as broad as fungi or the bacteria. Now, when we talk about their nutrition, here we see that most of the time, not most of the time, they are like making their own food. So we can call them producer. For all the plants. There is one special section of plants which are producer plus insectivorous. So there are one section of the plants which are insectivorous. They are insectivorous plus producers. Like If we look at these plants, we have these different insectivorous plants. Okay. Like this is Venus flytrap. This plant is having the name Venus flytrap. Here we have the pitcher plant. Okay. This is sundew. This is utricularia. Okay. So these are the different types of insectivorous plants. Okay. Now when we look at them, they are also like doing photosynthesis. But they have this one challenge. Naturally, when they are growing over certain places, it has been seen that in that soil there was lack of the nutrients, such as nitrate, phosphate, sulfate, etc. So in order to overcome that, they started feeding upon the insects. Okay. So what we see that they are growing in those areas where there is lack of nutrients in the soil. So in order to get the nutrients, they started capturing the insects, and from those insects they are deriving their nutrients like nitrate, phosphate, sulfate, etc. And after getting these nutrients, they are also performing photosynthesis. So they also make their own food. But for getting the nutrients, they don't simply depend on the soil plus insects. Now suppose that if you are growing one of them in a bulk, like suppose if you have got a pot and here you are growing one such plant. Okay. You have taken one of the, let's say, pitcher plant, and you are like you have got them in one pot and you are keeping it in your garden or in your balcony, and you are giving them regular nutrients, regular water. Will they consume insects? They will still consume insects. Just because you are giving fruits for or nutrients for 2 days or 10 days, they will not change their habit. Okay. So even if you give them, like you are giving them for, let's say, like 3 days, 5 days, 3 months, 1 year, so they have acquired this trait from their generations, and you are giving them for 1 week and you expect them to stop killing the insects. Okay. So it cannot be done. If you keep feeding them for 1000 years, 2000 years, then they will change. If you keep feeding them for 1000, 2000 years, then they will think that now there is no need to capture the insects. But just because you give them water for 10 days, they will not change their habit. Okay. So they will still eat the insects. Okay. So this is a part of adaptation in the plants. So it doesn't changes over like one lifetime. If you feed their generations for thousands of years, they will also change. But it cannot be done in just like 1 generation or 2 generation. It will require more than that. Okay. So this is one insectivorous plant. Okay. Now they are also quite useful for us. Okay. Like if we talk about these plants, how they are useful, they have the enzymes which can kill various insects. So using them, we can develop medicines for various types of bacteria or various types of infection inside our body. Okay. If there is any infection, if there is any such problem, we can use the enzymes which is used by them. In fact, a research is going on with respect to this pitcher plant and this sundew. Their enzymes are being like researched upon that can they be used to even kill the cancer cells. The utricularia, this utricularia is already being used for treating urinary tract infections. It is also used to make medicinal tea for providing immunity. So these insectivorous plants also have a number of uses for us also. They can be used for controlling the infection, for providing more immunity to the body, and even they are being researched upon for treatment of cancer as well. So that is one such benefit of these insectivorous plants. So here in this case, we see that when we are talking about the plants, when we talk about the plants, like it starts from here itself. When we talk about the plant, we have seen the insectivorous also. Now, plants can also be divided. Okay. We can also divide the plants as per their specifications. All the plants are not same. Okay. All the plants are not same. Some plants have full developed roots, stems. They have also got their fruits, their seeds, everything. Whereas some of them are just like algae. Okay. They have no structure, nothing like that. Okay. So here we see that in the case of plants, we have multiple structures. Okay. One of them is thallophyta. Okay. One of them is the thallophyta. One of them is the thallophyta. These are the first generation of plants. They are considered as, like, when the plants started, they started from here. They were the one which were capable of performing photosynthesis, and everything evolved from there. If we talk about them, like if we see the thallophyta, this is thallophyta. Okay. This is the thallophyta, or what you also see as algae. So in actual, the algae looks like this. Okay. If you go to any such river which is polluted, or any such lake which is polluted, you may see a green cover on that. Okay. Try to pick it in your hand. That is the algae. Okay. So this is the algae which you see in the plant. Now see, they are generally unicellular. They are generally unicellular. Now think about the population. If you think India has a very high population, think about the population of algae in one pond. Okay. If you see just them, just try to like visualize this. In this one hand itself, if we are having algae and it is visible, try to imagine this. Algae are unicellular. So how many cells might have come together? How many cells might have come together to form this much part of algae? So from there you can understand, like our one drop of blood contains like thousands and thousands of cells, like even going up to lakhs, one drop of blood. So just imagine from there that here we are having these algae. So how many cells would have been there? In one single pond, you can have more algae than the entire population of the world. Okay. So their population is enormous. Okay. And if you see them, like humans have taken more than 10,000 years to reach this population. They can reach within 10 days. Okay. They can have this much of population within 10 days. So that is the power of algae. And it is not like that they are just proliferating there, they are killing all the other organisms. Okay. How they are killing? It's not that they will attack their cell, they are not going to attack other organisms. They will block the sunlight, they will block the oxygen. No oxygen, no sunlight, no life. So they are going to completely block this sunlight for the organisms which are inside it. They are going to block the oxygen for them. So when algae is proliferating, they are going to kill the entire ecosystem. Just to give you an example, there is a sea in, now they have named Turkey. Turkey has changed its name. Okay. So they thought that why name change only in India? We can also change our names. Okay. So they have like given a new name to their country. Now it is called as Turkey. Okay. So here in Turkey, there is one sea, Sea of Marmara. Okay. A few years back, there was a algal bloom in the Sea of Marmara, which killed most of the fishes in that sea. So more than 80 to 90% of the fishes died within 1 week of algal bloom. So this algae can cause huge loss for the entire ecosystem. It can cause huge loss for the tourism, and it's not that they will also have good smell. When you go to a pond which is filled with algae, it is going to have a foul smell also. Some of the algae can be poisonous also. Okay. So algae can also be poisonous. Some of them can create huge foul smell also, and they are going to kill the entire ecosystem. So that is one specialty about algae. But this is how the plants have evolved. If you see all the plants of the world, their beginning point was algae. Like when bacteria started to evolve, they evolved in certain sections like amoeba and all. And then there was one evolution which led to growth of algae. From algae, there was development of plant. And from amoeba and spirogyra and others, there was evolution of animals in later course of time. If you trace the history, it goes like this: bacteria, then we have the protista kingdom. That was the second stage. So there were certain organisms like amoeba and all, they later on gave rise to humans one day. Okay. So you can trace back the history to amoeba also. Like from amoeba, many other organisms started to grow, and finally we came here up to humans. And on other side, it started from algae, then it started to other organisms, and finally plants. Okay. So this is how the evolution has occurred on the earth. It all started around 25 to 3800 million years ago, and from the algae we have got the plants. So that's why they are also considered as part of Thallophyta. Okay. So this is one part. Write a little bit about them, and then we will come to the next section. We will see the next part of plants. First, write this. Plants are tissue-based organism. Plants are tissue-based organism tissue-based organism. They are eukaryotic. They are eukaryotic. They have cell wall. They have cell wall. They are producers. They have cell walls. They are producer. They have cell walls. They are producers. One more point. Some plants can be insectivorous also. Some plants can be insectivorous also. Just write a few lines about them. Insectivorous plants are generally growing in those areas. Insectivorous plants are generally growing in those areas where soil lacks nutrients, such as nitrate, phosphate, etc. Such as nitrate, phosphate, etc. Now, next point, in this insectivorous itself, you can write insectivorous plants trap and kills the insects. Insectivorous plant traps and kill the insects. Trap and kills the insects. Traps and kills the insects for acquiring these nutrients. For acquiring these nutrients. Write in note, the enzymes of insectivorous plants, the enzymes of insectivorous plants can be used for treating of various infections in human body. For example, utricularia can be used for urinary tract infection treatment. It can also be used for medicinal tea. The enzymes of sundews, and pitcher plant is being researched upon. Pitcher plant is being researched upon for treatment of cancer. This is one part, like in the case of plants, we have written this one basic thing. Now, coming back to this one classification, we have seen Thallophyta. Here we have seen that we have this one member, algae. Then what we see that the next category which we see here is the Bryophyta. Bryophyta are basically the aquatic plants which are evolved than algae. Means now it is not just single cell. Now it is not just single cell, it is a little bit more evolved. And here we have the next example, that is like mosses. Okay. So you have algae over here. Mosses is second part, which is like Bryophyta. So they are also aquatic, but they don't have the roots. We have just seen the mosses also. Okay. If you see the mosses also, they are not having the roots. They are growing like this, but they are not having the true roots or true leaves or anything like that. Okay. So they are the second category, which is the Bryophyta. There is third category, which is called as the amphibian plant. Okay. Amphibian means which can also come on the land. Okay. So we have the third category of the plant, which is this ferns. Okay. This is the third category of plant which is coming under the Pteridophyta. This is coming under the section of Pteridophyta. The Pteridophyta. So here we have this one example, ferns. Now try to understand this first. When we are talking about these three plants, Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, try to understand the evolution of them. Okay. You have seen algae. Algae are like cell based. Even though they are forming the community, they are cell based organism. A little bit growth was seen when we have come to the second part, which is bryophyta. They still don't have the roots. They are still found in the aquatic ecosystem. Okay. They don't have the true leaves. They don't have the true roots or branches or anything. But they are much more evolved than the algae part. If algae is present in one single number, you cannot even see algae. You can see algae when you have this microscope or when they are in huge community. Like suppose if I bring one glass of water from any river, you will find some algae is there, but normally you will not be able to see it. You will be able to see it only when there is a colony of the algae. Otherwise, you cannot see them. So here, if we see this second part, which was our mosses, you can see them. Even they are forming colonies, but you can see the individual one also. So that was a second level of evolution. Now we go to the third level, where we see that now they have developed some of the leaves. They have got the roots also. So this is the third level of evolution. Here they have got leaves. Here they have got somewhat branch like a structure. Not true branch, but somewhat a structure is there. They have got the leaf also. So fern is one thing. This is called as fern. Okay. So ferns are one thing, which are the third level of plants, okay, the pteridophyta. So they have not got the full-fledged structure, but they have got leaf, they have got roots. And in fact, you can also consider them the first plant which has become terrestrial also. Okay. The first plant which is actually in terrestrial nature. They are not growing in water, or they can grow in water, but they can also grow on the land. That is their specialty. So this is the first terrestrial plant in that sense. The first terrestrial plant in that sense. Okay. Now, after this part, now we see that there was next level of evolution. A plant which has started to grow in a full form. It has got the entire stem, like there was root, there was a stem, there was branches, there was also seed. There was next part when we have got a plant which was full-fledged. Here we see that there was presence of roots also, there was presence of branches also, stem also, and this time there was a seed also. But there was no fruit. The seed was simply present there in a naked form without any fruits. So that was the fourth level of evolution of plant which we see in these forms. Like the pine, juniper, birch, they are the third categories. Okay. They are the third categories where we have got only the seeds. Okay. After this part, most of the things which you see around you, most of the plants from grasses to apple to banyan tree to people, each and everything which you see in your locality, they are the next level of plants which we simply, like I think you know the plants. Okay. So here we have the next level of plant which is the angiosperms, which has got everything. Okay. So every plant which you have seen from the grasses to the banyan tree, most of the plants which you have seen from, even like you have seen the rice also, wheat also, mustard also, all these plants which you have seen, there is no need of confusion over there. Okay. There is no need to getting confused over there whether it is gymnosperm or angiosperm. In the gymnosperm, we have very few plants like pine, juniper. You will not find them in your locality. The plants which you actually find in your locality, they are the most evolved plants. They are the angiosperms. So if you try to see that whether papaya is this gymnosperm or angiosperm, remember one thing, all the things which you see, they are just part of angiosperms. Okay. Whether you see banana, whether you see mango, or you are seeing lychee, guava, every fruit which you know, if there is any fruit or any grain which you eat directly, that is basically the anything which you eat, or if you don't eat, other plants, other animals eat. Like if you have seen banyan tree, so they also have fruits. Have you seen the fruits of banyan tree? No. There are fruits of banyan tree also. You may not use it, but the birds are eating it. Okay. So they also have their fruits. It's not like mango, but they have got the fruits. Okay. So all these plants are also having some fruits or some seeds which are encapsulated by the fruits. So in case of plants, we are having these 5 sections. In case of plants, we are having the 5 sections. Okay. Here we have the pteridophyta, plus we have the gymnosperm and angiosperm. So these are the 5 names. Just write the examples. Okay. In pteridophyta, you have the ferns. Here you have pine, juniper, and here you have all plants with fruits. Now tell me about this corn, maize or corn. Is it part of gymnosperm or angiosperm? Corn, maize or corn, which you eat, cornflakes, which it is also made up of it. Popcorn is also made up of it. So is it gymnosperm or angiosperm? Gram, the gram which you eat, the rajma which you eat. Don't get confused. Apart from these 2 names, you know nothing about gymnosperm. Okay. There is no plant other than this about the gymnosperm. So everything which you come around, simply classify them as angiosperm. If it is anything, any pulses, any cereals, any fruit, anything which you know about, they are all coming under this section. Anything which you can eat, they are coming under this section. Okay. Whether you are eating the fruit or seed of it, they are all coming under this section. Okay. So what you see, apart from pine and juniper, you will not find these plants. The gymnosperms are the 4th level. You are not seeing them so commonly. Everything which you see around you, every plant which you see around you, from the grasses to the banyan tree, each and everything which you see around you, coconut also, everything will come under this section. Okay. So no need of confusion over there whether it is gymnosperm or angiosperm. In gymnosperm, you have pine and juniper, everything which you know, any other plant which you know, they will come under angiosperm. So strawberry, grapes, mushroom. Mushroom is not plant, mushroom is fungi. Okay. So do not get confused there that if you have mushroom also you will keep under onion. So every crop which you know, every oil seed which you know, every every type of dry fruits which you know, each and everything coming under this angiosperm. Okay. Everything which you know, it comes under this angiosperm. Okay. So no need of confusion over there. Okay. Now one last kingdom. So it is your own kingdom. पाइन के बाद juniper. So here we have this one last kingdom, that is animalia. So are they single cell or multi-cell? Organ based? Okay. So suppose if humans were single cellular, if humans were unicellular organism, then what would have happened? You won't have to give the exam. That was the main thing. Like if you are a unicellular organism, your life cycle will be of few hours. So you don't have to attend like exam or anything. By the time you are going in exam, many of the bacteria are going for the next generation. Okay. So if you are sitting for 3-hour mains exam, during that time bacteria can have its 3 generations, even more than that. Okay. So this is one thing, it is organ based organism, prokaryotic or eukaryotic? Eukaryotic. Mode of nutrition, producers, it is consumers only, it is heterotrophic, entirely heterotrophic. Okay. Do they have cell wall? So in case of animal cells, we don't have the cell wall. Okay. Where are they found? Earth and beyond. Okay. Where do the animals exist? Now we can say beyond Earth also. If there is something which is more present than bacteria, like bacteria may not be found in a space station until unless we take them. Okay. So we can also go up to the space station. The range of bacteria is from like 11 kilometer depth of ocean to 9 kilometer up to the top. Okay. But if we talk about humans, so we can go up to the moon, 4 lakh kilometer beyond the earth. Okay. So this is the range of animals, but don't write it in exam. Okay. In animals, we have of course limited range. There are different type of organisms having different habitat. Okay. From terrestrial to aquatic to marine, means in aquatic also, freshwater also, marine also, everything is there. Okay. Animalia kingdom is also extensive. Animalia kingdom is also quite extensive. They may not be present near the volcanoes, but they are present almost everywhere. They can create volcanoes. Okay. Like in future, they can create volcanoes. So that is about Animalia kingdom. Okay. So there is nothing unique about them, but they are changing the entire world. Okay. It's not that there is a kingdom classification within them. So we are not going into it. Okay. Just one simple thing: organ-based, eukaryotic, heterotrophic. That is more than sufficient for animals. We will read about one animal separately. Okay. We will talk about the entire human body. Okay. So that is one part of animals which we are going to read about. Okay. So from here, from Animalia section, we will move to that. But in between all these 5, there was one thing. Virus. And virus is not alone. Virus is with its 2 brothers also. Or it can be sisters also, not necessarily brother. Okay. So no gender bias. Okay. So it can be anything, brother or sister. Okay. Or friends, whatever they like. Okay. So what we see in case of virus, generally what we see that viruses are the organisms, or we can say viruses are the structure, not the organism. Viruses are the structure which were present even before bacteria. Like something which was existing even before bacteria, that was virus. Okay. Now what we see that when we are talking about the virus, virus is simply a genetic material. Virus is simply a genetic material. It can be DNA or it can be RNA. Okay. It can be DNA or RNA based. Both type of viruses exist in the nature. When we talk about viruses, even within RNA, they can be single strand RNA, double strand RNA. There can be some viruses which can be infecting only the plants, like the RNA based virus. Mostly they are infecting the plants, whereas DNA based viruses are infecting the animals. They can be infecting animals, they can be infecting humans. There is also one virus which is called as positive sense virus. There is one virus which is called as negative sense virus. So what is the difference? We will see that also. There is a virus called as adenovector virus or adenovirus. Adenovirus. And there is one virus which is called as retrovirus. So viruses are not single like structure. Viruses have multiple classification. Like we have the organism kingdom, so there is a virus kingdom also. A kingdom of all the different viruses. There is different type of classification within the virus. Now that is one part of them. We will discuss them one by one, single like. Then they have two relatives, that is viroids or prions. So viroids are not even complete RNA. They are a small part of RNA or very small RNA. Then we call them as viroids. So viroids are basically the potential future virus. Although they are not going to transform, but they were first type of organisms which has come up. They were very small RNA. They have not completely developed into a virus. Virus is complete RNA. Viroids are very small part of RNA. So they are like, maybe in future they could have evolved as virus, but they were the beginning parts. Means even before virus there was viroids. And even before viroids there was prions. And what is in prions? They are not even RNA. They are simply protein. They are simply proteins arranged in a complex form. So if you look at this, they are proteins in complex form. They are simply a proteins in complex form. Here we see that smaller RNA. We see that it is a smaller RNA. Now after viroids, we have the third one, which is RNA, or it can also be DNA. So if you see all of them, till now we have been able to identify these three, mainly these three on which we have got sufficient evidence. There may be some others also, but these are the basic three. Prions, which are proteins in complex form, they cannot be called as viruses. Initially they were assumed as virus, but later on it was found that they are not viruses. They are simply some proteins in a complex form. Now if we look at them, these prions, they are responsible for one problem called as mad cow disease. They are responsible for mad cow disease. And in humans also, they can cause the Jacob disease, which is also like you can say similar to Alzheimer, where people are losing their memory. So what we see that in this case, the proteins which are there, they are infecting the cattle, or in some cases the humans also. This one particular prions, it is mainly prevalent in European and Western countries. Why? Why they are prevalent there? See, in these countries there is higher consumption of meat, and that too of cattle. They are consuming the meat of cattle or pigs or other organisms. So that's why these prions are largely going to people of Western world or US or European countries. So there is a problem of mad cow disease also, plus there is a problem of the Jacob disease also, similar to Alzheimer. Second problem is of viroids. Viroids are something which is a smaller part of RNA, very small part of RNA. So they are infecting the plants only. They are infecting the plants only. There is a particular disease, tuber disease in potato. We have a particular disease, tuber disease. Normally you see potato is like this. You have seen potato, no? Okay. So you have seen potato, it is normally oval shaped or round shaped. Okay. So this is potato. When we see the tuber disease, potato becomes like this. Okay. it becomes elongated, it becomes tubular. Okay. So that is the tuber disease. It becomes a tube-like structure. So when you are getting a tuber or a tube-like potato in the market, don't think that it is having the same disease. Okay. Even if it is having, you are not going to be impacted, because viroids cannot impact humans. Okay. So you don't have to worry about it that next time you are going to potato, you are checking whether it is having tuber disease or not. Okay. So in the case of potato, what we see that normally it is like round shaped, spherical shaped, but when there is a tuber disease, it becomes like this tubular structure. It gets this tubular structure. So that is one such disease which is caused due to viroids. And then the third one comes, which is the much more evolved and much more impactful one, the virus. Virus can bring the entire world to a halt. We have already seen that. Okay. That viruses, how much powerful they are. They are not even living organism. They are not even living organism, but still they can bring the entire living organism with all the space technology to a halt. Okay. That is the power of virus. They can infect all the organisms. They can infect bacteria, they can infect all the Protista kingdom, all the fungi, they can infect plants, they can infect animals. So viruses infect each and everything. Okay. So that is the virus. So we will see this part of virus, like what are the different viruses, and then we will see the human body. That we will see tomorrow. Now before you go, let me take the questions from online. Okay. You don't have to be scared about tubular potatoes, that is not even a problem. Okay. Achha, you are consuming 6 days potato, so there may not be a problem of the viroids, but there may be a problem of obesity or high sugar level. Can protistas form symbiotic? Yes. Any organism can form symbiotic. Other alpine plants are also gymnosperms. No, generally these two are very common. Ferns are those, like ferns are part of the pteridophyta. Pteridophyta is a classification under the plant kingdom. Okay. Viruses is always harmful? No. Viruses can be useful also. We will have questions. After this section, we will have question. We will discuss about tardigrades. Tardigrades are living organism. They are part of this kingdom. They are living organism, but they are much more evolved. They have various adaptation, but they are evolved like more than bacteria, more than other organisms. Why China, Japan eat algae? Everyone eats algae. Like in India also you can consume algae, good algae, not the bad one. No, diagram is not needed in exam because they are not asking from these in mains. Spirogyra will come under that section of Protista only. Although sometimes like they will come under that Protista only. I am taking others, I am taking the questions in middle also. When I see any questions, I take them also. If I attend the ongoing class of general, I don't know about the previous classes. You may have done it in the previous classes. Maybe that was prelims specific. I think in one of the batch there was prelims specific class. So that was focusing only on prelims part. Here after this general science portion, we will also see mains type, mains related topics. Why you don't give question to us as you give? I give question to everyone. I am asking question. It's not that I am doing Like I am giving questions only to offline students. For general science, even that is more than sufficient. See, wherever the topics are there from which you are getting question, I am telling you that this topic is important or that topic is important. So you don't have to read the NCERT for this or even class 12th, 11th bio. No, you don't have to read the 11th, 12th bio book for this. 11th and 12th bio book are for different purpose, not for UPSC. Acha, it was in your batch, okay. So that was prelims specific. Later on, we will like after this portion of general science, we will see some portions of mains also. When we will start with biotech and everything. Does all bacteria decomposers? No, I have told you they can be producers or decomposers. No, Monera kingdom, you know that Monera kingdom have bacteria. Bacteria cannot have plastids. They have a small structure. How they will have the plastids? They are very small structures. They are doing all these things in their cytoplasm. They don't have a specific chloroplast where they will contain the chlorophyll. They are doing it all in their cytoplasm. But that is sufficient. Yes, your chat is entirely visible. Now, for science, you will not have to read the book. I told you just now. PDF of previous classes. PDF of previous classes. Uploaded. Drosera is like the group of organism. Like we have seen sundews. So sundews are from the like group of Drosera. Drosera is the entire group in which sundews is also one member. Lichens and mosses can grow in almost all the different types of ecosystem. Angio and gymnosperms we have seen. Angiosperms are the one which are having all the fruits and everything, like everything which you know, every fruits from like from the wheat to any other plants which you see, they are the angiosperm. Gymnosperm we have seen some examples like pine, juniper, etc. You can watch it, Shyam. Okay. So let's meet then tomorrow and then we will discuss the remaining topics.